What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to my top 5 best loadouts you guys should be using. If you enjoyed this video, let's break 200 likes, subscribe, notifications turned on, and let's get into it. All right, so for the first gun up here today, we're of course going to be using the SCAR, aka the SOR 556. This thing is absolutely incredible, really good at close, medium, and longer distances. I should say basically medium to longer distances, as the rate of fire might not be the greatest at close range, but overall, this thing's fantastic. Hopping into this here to show you guys the attachments. First attachment's the standard suppressor, which of course fully hides you in world and spotting and reduces the range where a soldier is spotted on the minimap. While firing, it does slightly reduce your hipfire accuracy. That's not much of an issue. We're not too concerned with that. We just want this thing to be better at those medium to longer distances. And whatever happens at close range is, like, obviously gonna, be there, but I say that you should be more fine-tuning this thing for those medium to longer ranges, given that it's got 1,000 meters a second in bullet velocity, and the damage is actually quite nice, and it's got almost virtually no bloom. And especially with that update coming out here on the 18th for the reduction of bloom and a few other things, this thing is going to be even more of a laser beam. After that, I want you guys to go down here in the barrel section and run the 18 US LB barrel. This, of course, increases your projectile velocity and enables a faster transition to your aim down sight speed, which is really awesome. Of course, you go for the heavy barrel. You will see your precision is up there a bit, but your bullet velocity is down at 800. And I'd say, I would just go for this one, the extended barrel, as this really does get you out to the fastest bullet velocity possible, which makes it even really good for red sec, for regular multiplayer. Super awesome. Would recommend you guys go for that. Want to max out all of your weapons to level 50 and unlock the new Unstoppable Force variants ASAP? Check out MITCH CACTUS. They're the absolute best and most reliable in Battlefield 6 and Call of Duty. Whether you want to increase your own level to 500 or get help completing challenges or even the campaign, they've got you covered. Everything is completely safe and legitimate for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. They're super trusted by the community, and you may have seen them all over YouTube, and that's for good reason. With over 19,000 reviews and thousands of personalized vouchers, they're the go-to for all things Battlefield. Use code CHUCK for 5% off. Underbarrel section, I want you guys to go for the rib stubby here, as this enables a slightly faster transition to your ADS, and it reduces recoil. Has no cons, which is very nice. So you guys definitely want to go ahead and run that. Down here in the magazine section, you can run a variety of things, and let's say you want to go for just the regular 30 round mag right here, and you could save yourself some points and run something else or some other different attachment configuration. But for me right now, I have the 36 round mag on here, as this actually feels like it works out quite nicely. The 40 round does take a little bit too many points, puts me over capacity right there, so definitely gonna go for that 36. I wish some of these fit together a little bit better point wise, but this is still a 95 out of 100 point build. And lastly, we're gonna go up in here. We're gonna go throw on the Baker 3 times, as this is really good for range. So this can be really solid. I thoroughly enjoy using this. Also, maybe like 1.7x. The ROM is really good, or even if you want to go down to a red dot, the mini flex is going to be fantastic as well. I don't believe in the ergonomics here we have anything. Oh, we do technically have this, so maybe for 5 points I could throw on a rail cover and get a little bit extra right there. But overall, I'd say that this is a really solid build. Even if you don't happen to have the rail cover, definitely try it out. Next up here is going to be the M4A1. I absolutely love this gun. I just don't get to use it as much, as I still try to level up other things. But this is really good for close to medium range. Obviously, you can see the hipfire accuracy is pretty solid. And overall, this thing is so fun to use. Highly recommend it. Hopping into the first attachment, we run the long suppressor, as this fully hides in-world spotting, and it reduces recoil buildup and improves recoil recovery at the cost of some hipfire accuracy and weapon sway. Not really that big of a deal, honestly. I mean, you can see the precision is not even going down in a way that even shows red or green. It's essentially the same thing, and I want to fill out my full 100 points here, so I'm going to be running that. After that barrel section, I just recommend going for the extended barrel, as this, of course, keeps your projectile velocity high and enables a faster transition to your ADS. Makes you better for those medium-ish ranges, which is really solid. Bullet velocity at 787 is super awesome. Down here in the underbarrel, this right here, I just went ahead and used the adjustable angled, as I quite like it for my overall mobility sake. I would say that this is actually really solid over a lot of these other ones. If you want to run something that's going to cost more points, feel free to do so. I have ran the rib stubby on this, but I was like, you know what? For being good at those closer to medium ranges, I don't need something too crazy. And with that long suppressor helping the recoil buildup, I can afford to spend less points here on an underbarrel. Magazine, I went for the 30 round fast, just because the rest of these take a few too many points, and I'd rather have something for a laser. Speaking of, I'm going to go up in here and use the 50 MW green laser, which helps me get the most hipfire accuracy basically out of any of these. So highly recommend you guys go ahead and do that. And last but not least, we go through on the Mini Flex 1.0, which can be substituted out for an OSA. Could be, you could throw on literally the ROM if you really want to, but this is not really a gun where I would suggest throwing on anything much past a 2 times. That right there is basically going to be the most I would suggest. So definitely try this out. Really fun build. Next up, I want to give you all a build here for the MP7, aka the PW7A2. This is actually a really solid SMG. You can be able to see that the recoil pattern is almost virtually non-existent. Like, it doesn't really have any, and the damage range for an SMG is probably the best you'll ever get out of an SMG. Like, I think it is genuinely the best in the entire category. All right, so first attachment on this thing, we just got the long suppressor, which helps us, of course, with our in-world spotting and reduces our recoil buildup and stuff like that. So really awesome. You can run the regular standard suppressor. That's perfectly fine. Like, don't get me wrong, but I just have points left over, so I like to go for the long suppressor. That's my preference right there. Barrel section, we just go for the heavy barrel. I mean, both of these cost the exact same, so you might as well get something that helps improve your firing accuracy over extended periods. Like, to me, that just makes sense. Under barrel, I want to go for the rib stubby, as it does do exactly what it's supposed to, helps my recoil and makes my transition to ADS slightly faster. So ain't really got to think about that too much. This could be really solid either way. In the magazine section, I go for the 30 round fast mag, as the 40 round mag is, of course, 25 points. I'm not really going to be spending my points on that. That'll put me way over capacity right there, so don't want to do that. Standard ammunition, we're gonna go up in here to laser section. Since I had those 10 points that I could use on this, I threw on the 5MW green laser. Unfortunately, I didn't have 20. I'm gonna have to probably switch out some different attachments, but overall, I really like the 5MW green laser. It's my hipfire accuracy up. If you want to go for this, then you'd essentially have the same hipfire accuracy as something like the M4A1, but I think overall, this is still pretty solid. Like I said, you can adjust like maybe your underbarrel for something less expensive than 25-30 points, and then you'd have enough to go for the 50 MW green, but overall, I think that's fine. And lastly, I go for that Mini Flex 1.0. Would not really suggest going for the iron sights on this thing. It doesn't seem to be all that great. I just say go for a red dot sight. It's literally just the basic 10 points, and it makes all the difference in the world when being able to see your targets outside of like super close range. I don't think iron sights in this game are really that beneficial on like 99% of guns. I really don't. So that right there is my full build. Next up for build is going to be the KTS 100. This thing is absurd. It's probably one of the best LMGs in the entire game, just because, I mean, listen, it doesn't have like a crazy rate of fire, but you can see I'm basically shooting the exact same spot and I'm not getting any bloom, which obviously, you know, bloom update, which is going to come out here in some days. This is insane. I'd be saying pre-update because it's going to come out on the 18th along with that new map. So just want to put that out there. They will be adjusting the bloom update we should have had in that update. It was supposed to come out in season 1, but it didn't. So first attachment here, long suppressor, of course. This thing's really awesome. No real reason to go for the CQB. Like, that just doesn't make sense. Just go for the long suppressor. Yeah, I'll be totally fine. You could also just go for the standard suppressor if you really wanted to, but I go for the long suppressor. Barrel section, go for the heavy extended barrel just so you can get the maximum bullet velocity. It just makes sense to be able to go ahead and do that, so would recommend you guys do that. Under barrel, I just like going for the rib stubby. Obviously, there's no cons to it, and it does make me a little bit faster, so that's quite nice. In the magazine, I go for the 45 round mag, though I could technically go for the 45 round fast. Actually, if I want to max out my ammo, I'm not sure why I'm not doing that, but I should just probably go for the 45 round fast mag, and I'll be totally good to go. Now, that's kind of an oversight on my part. I probably should have just had that on there to begin with. Anyways, going up here into the laser, I like having a little bit of something on this just in case I get caught at close range. I think that's quite nice, at least on this gun in particular, just because the rate of fire rate's a little slow. So having something to help me out can be beneficial, but overall, you could use this 10 points elsewhere and run something a little bit different. Lastly, we're gonna go up in here to the optics, and I have the BF2M 2.5 on there. I will say the Baker 3x is really fantastic. I'm not a big fan of going past the 3x scope. I think that may be a little bit too much magnification for my taste. But overall, I think these or anything else even below this is going to be pretty awesome to use. Not as much of a fan of this sight right here, but overall, I think any of the red dots are going to be pretty solid, but I do quite like my BF2M. Last but not least is going to be a build here for the NVO 228. This thing is a really solid AR to use. Absolutely love it. I think it's great for those like medium-ish ranges, not as much for like super long distance, just because the overall recoil pattern, but as long as you can manage, you can burst fire some of that stuff and be perfectly good at range. But the damage profile on this is crazy good. So getting into the build here, I'd recommend you guys go ahead and use the long suppressor when you get a chance and you have it unlocked. If you don't have it unlocked, You can run the regular suppressor or run a brake, just kind of up to you guys on that. But overall, I'd say the long suppressor is quite nice. You guys kind of know what it does here. You can see the sort of like description of it, so I don't really have to explain that one. In the barrel section, I'd recommend to go for the 458 custom, as this is basically the best thing in here. Obviously, increase your projectile velocity. 838 is fantastic. We don't want to go down here to the basic, which is 671. That's on the lower end for an AR. So we're trying to be good, like, you know, out do some good distance here. So 458 is going to be where it's at. Underbarrel, I quite like actually the rib stubby. You know, I do genuinely like the rib stubby. It is so useful on so many different guns. It's just such a universal good underbarrel. So I'd say to go for it on this one. Does the Lord's work on this? Down here in the magazine, I'd say to use the 36 round mag. You can go for the 30 round fast and maybe have some points left over, maybe switch something out. But overall, I like 36 round. I don't think going an extra 4 rounds and getting a fast mag is maybe that worth the 30 points. I don't like that. So I'm just going to go for the 36 round mag. No right accessory, standard ammunition. And of course, up in here, we run that mini reflex. Though I will say something out here like an ROM would be perfectly acceptable as well. I wouldn't say this is much of a gun where you're going to want to use a high magnification scope on it. You're probably just not going to want to do that. Just probably stay in this general area, as this is more of an aggressive medium range AR, whereas something like the SOR is better for distance because of the recoil pattern. This is not really that gun. So definitely try that out. That's my top 5. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe, check out this other video on screen, and I'll see y'all next time.